something huge is coming for the Chicago Bulls. While there's plenty of teams still looking to bolster up their roster as the season progresses, one team that has shown interest in the big man coming out of the Chicago Bulls has been the Los Angeles Lakers. Hello, my name is Isaias Jackson Jr. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Bulls Digest. We got to look into the Los Angeles Lakers' interest into Nikola Vucevic and the possibility of Nikola Vucevic finding himself in a Los Angeles Lakers jersey. However, 67% of you guys are not subscribed, while 32.5% of you guys are. We appreciate you guys on both sides of the field. And look, that button, you will not get shocked. It will not hurt you in any way, shape, or form. That subscribe button gives you nothing but positivity, nothing but positive vibes all around. Hit that subscribe button, like, and share. And thank you guys so much for tuning into Bulls Digest. I'm trying to shake off all the cobwebs. I'm fresh off of the plane, just coming fresh out of Louisiana itself, Franklin, Louisiana to be specific, swamp territory. So we're here having a whole lot of fun. I can't hear anything right now, but we're jumping on here, coming right into the Chicago Bulls news. Bulls veteran reportedly has interest from Lakers despite offseason additions. Of course, just looking at it from the Los Angeles Lakers standpoint, there are still many teams around the NBA that have to improve their roster, including the Los Angeles Lakers. The Chicago Bulls are entering next season in somewhat of a strange place, but unlike the Lakers, they aren't expected to win the championship. Neither are the Lakers. Look, at least that's coming from me. So while the Lakers might not be the favorite on paper, they have a good enough team to accomplish something special if everything goes right and they make other necessary moves. Of course, you've seen DeAndre Ayton making the move for the Los Angeles Lakers. And look, I could go on all day. I'm pretty sure I have before. I could go on all day about DeAndre Ayton and his tenure in the NBA because it has been very, very documented, especially in Phoenix. So the Los Angeles Lakers, they're putting the work done. Of course, you've seen Luka Doncic make his way to the Los Angeles Lakers last season in that Anthony Davis trade as well. So Los Angeles Lakers are definitely putting in the work to make their team a whole lot better as the years progress. The Lakers have quietly had a decent offseason. Jake LaVaria had is a decent player. Him coming from Indiana State, he played in Indiana State for 1 year. Got to show some love there, so at least for the home state. DeAndre Ayton has some potential if things go as well as they can, and Marcus Smart is intriguing. Of course, he's aging as well. Doesn't say that on here, but I'm gonna throw that out there. Marcus Smart and aging. Marcus Smart as well. So while Smart and Ayton are question marks because of health and other factors, if everything goes well as it can, the Lakers should be in a position to compete. However, they also need more, and according to a recent report from Anthony Irwin, they're in search for that as well. So Irvin reported that the Lakers are keeping a close eye on Bulls big man Nikola Vucevic. Now, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, I think that's a smart move because you can't put all your eggs in a basket for DeAndre Ayton. You know, DeAndre Ayton isn't going to be your end-all, be-all at that center position because he already showed you that he's not going to put his 110% effort there when it's needed. You've seen multiple clips of Devin Booker, Kevin Durant going off on him. I mean, hell, before Kevin Durant showed up in Phoenix, it was Devin Booker and Chris Paul that was always going back and forth with DeAndre Ayton. At first, it was Chris Paul saying, you know what, we're being a little too hard on DeAndre Ayton. And then after a while, you start realizing that maybe DeAndre Ayton is the problem. Maybe he isn't that aggressive down low and grabbing rebounds. Maybe he isn't dominant down low and at least holding guys down low in the post and finding his shot. Maybe he isn't dominant at all, just in any facet of being at that center position. You know, he struggles a lot at showing his aggression, but yet he'll tell you at the press conferences to the media that he's dominating. You know, that's his nickname when there is no dominating anywhere. That isn't even in his game, you know, whatsoever. So you're not going to put all your eggs in a basket. Not trying to torch the man, but you're not going to put all your eggs in a basket for DeAndre Ayton and hoping that he's going to reach his full potential at that center position because he hasn't shown us that at all. So obviously just moving over, just going back as well. Entering the offseason, there's a bigger need around the NBA that the Lakers adding a center as well, because the Lakers coming through and adding a center helps out a whole way and be a huge way, you know, in more ways than one for the Los Angeles Lakers. Just going to go back as well. The Lakers have had a quite decent season as well. Just going back to this last paragraph that I skipped as well. This does this is a quote as well coming from Anthony Irvin. This does leave a few interesting free agents still, not even including the eventual buyout candidates like Chicago's Nikola Vucevic. As they did with Smart, the Lakers are closely monitoring monitoring the situation. So they want to get Nikola Vucevic for the free, and obviously that's the smartest decision you can make right there. You're not going to go and try to trade your assets for Nikola Vucevic when you could just wait for him to reach a buyout with the Chicago Bulls and then just scooping him up for the free ski. That's obviously going to be the Los Angeles Lakers go to in this situation. So, of course, entering the offseason, there wasn't a bigger need around the NBA than the Los Angeles Lakers adding a center. The Lakers eventually accomplished that by landing Ayton and re-signing Jackson Hayes, but there's a strong argument to be made that Vucevic would be a better player out of those two. It's not even a strong argument. It shouldn't even be an argument. I feel like that Nikola Vucevic, even at his ripe age of 35 years old, he could contribute way more than I think a DeAndre Ayton and a Jackson Hayes can in his position. He has some flaws, but mainly on the defensive side of the basketball. But he'd be an intriguing pickup for the Lakers as they should look to win it all next season. And of course, that's just a matter of how healthy can these guys be as well. Nikola Vucevic, I think, will be a great addition for the team. It does slow your team down a little bit. DeAndre Ayton, I do think, is faster on the feet, and Jackson Hayes is faster on the feet than Nikola Vucevic. You might get a little bit more effort there and a little bit more help in terms of rim protection from DeAndre Ayton and from Jackson Hayes than you would get from Nikola Vucevic. But Nikola Vucevic is going to contribute way more on the offensive side than DeAndre Ayton and Jackson Hayes is going to give you. DeAndre Ayton can give you some great contributions on the offensive side. It's just the fact of when are you going to get that? It's night and day when he wants to be dominant and when he doesn't. So when the Los Angeles Lakers case, I do think that works out in more ways than one. If you're the Chicago Bulls, you do not want to give up Nikola Vucevic for free. That's the last thing you want to do in this instance, because at that point in time, who is your center? Who's going to be your go-to center that's going to at least replace Vucevic and pick up his efforts at that offensive side? Because I look at it, this is going to be what we're looking to replace here from Nikola Vucevic. In 31 minutes per game, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 0.8 steals, 1.6 turnovers a game. He shot 53% from the field and also shot 40% from three-point range as well. 6'10", coming up on 35 years old, as I talked about here. What are you going to get if you're the Chicago Bulls? What are you going to get to replace that? Are you going to just start off rip and have Noah Singay, Montes Buzelis 1-2 punch, as your 4 and 5, which of course is the last thing I think a lot of us would want here in the situation. I'm just pretty much throwing out ideas here. But what are you going to do at that center position? What are you going to replace Nikola Vucevic for? And that's the primary source from that. I know the Chicago Bulls and Nikola Vucevic is rumored to potentially reach a buyout here, but I think that's the worst case scenario for the Chicago Bulls, because if you're doing that, you're confident in what your center position is being held up by. And honestly, with the Noah Singays, with the Zach Collins, I don't think it's being held up to the standard that Nikola Vucevic, held at least for the past couple seasons that he's had so far. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is a perfect move for the Chicago Bulls, just reaching a buyout with Nikola Vucevic, and if he lands wherever, he lands wherever? And look, with the Los Angeles Lakers, I do think they'll have some great success if they can have somebody like a Nikola Vucevic on their team. Or do you think it's in the Chicago Bulls' best interest to keep him and see where they can trade him? Because at this point, the Chicago Bulls need to find some help, at least at that center position, and need to find at least some greater talent, and at least gives us a chance to bring in some veteran help as well. I think trading Nikola Vucevic brings in some value, of course, brings in some talent there as well, instead of just reaching the buyout and letting them walk, letting them go wherever, and us just pretty much having nothing to say about it after that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.